PLO Lumumba's UN outburst stuns Africa. Leaders have betrayed the continent. At the United Nations, one voice silenced the room, not from power, but from truth. Professor PLO Lumumba, the man often called Africa's conscience, stood before the world and unleashed a firestorm. His message: brutal honesty. His target: the very leaders who claim to defend Africa, yet continue to betray her. From economic slavery to political hypocrisy, Lumumba's words ripped through the polished walls of diplomacy, leaving African delegates visibly shaken. But what exactly did he say? Why now? And who, among Africa's ruling elite, was he really calling out? Stay with us, because what happened in that UN room might just redefine how the world sees African leadership. Who bewitched us? You ever wonder how a continent so rich in talent, so loaded with brilliance, can still struggle to stand tall? I mean, think about it. When the most powerful people in the world gather and talk down on us, we sit there silent. But when our own brothers and sisters rise to speak truth, we scroll, we yawn, we tune out. Who bewitched us? Who taught us to doubt our own greatness? This is not a hate speech, this is a wake-up call. Because Africa, my friends, is not poor. Africa is paralyzed by potential. We've been too polite, too patient, too forgiving of mediocrity. And if we don't shake ourselves awake soon, history won't remember us for what we had, but for what we wasted. Welcome to InspirAfrica Official, the channel that brings you Africa's most powerful voices, untold truths, and global reactions shaping our continent's future. In today's report, we uncover the full story behind Professor PLO Lumumba's explosive address at the United Nations, a speech that left the world questioning Africa's direction. From the betrayal of African unity to leaders accused of selling out their nations for aid and influence, we dive deep into what Lumumba really meant when he said, "Our enemies are not outside, they wear our own colors." This is not just a speech. It's a warning to every African leader and a wake-up call to every citizen who still believes in the promise of independence. From accusations of betrayal to calls for unity, this video explores how Lumumba's message could reshape Africa's political destiny. Watch till the end. You won't believe which African leaders reacted privately after the speech. The mirror we avoid. Let's be honest for a second. If you walk into any university, market, or cafe across Africa today and ask young people if they want to leave the continent, 9 out of 10 will say, yes, yesterday. And it's not because they hate their homeland. It's because they've been made to believe that success only wears a foreign passport. They see friends posting pictures from Europe or America, smiling under lights powered 24 hours a day, and they think, that's where life happens. But what we don't talk about enough is the pain behind those smiles, the desert graves, the overcrowded boats in the Mediterranean, the endless humiliation at embassy gates, where your dignity is stripped away one document at a time. We can point fingers at colonialism, corruption, or global inequality, and yes, those are real, but the hardest truth is that we built parts of this cage ourselves. Our grandparents fought for freedom, but somewhere between their victory marches and our modern hashtags, we lost our sense of purpose. We wear designer confidence stitched in another man's factory. We've become too comfortable consuming what others create, chasing validation instead of vision. Even our schools mirror this mindset. We quote Harvard and Oxford like sacred texts, forgetting that we descend from civilizations that built libraries when Europe was still in darkness. We teach our children to memorize foreign heroes while ignoring our own. So the real question isn't whether Africa can rise, it's whether we'll let ourselves. The moment we stop seeking approval and start creating our own definition of greatness, the moment we realize that our destiny isn't charity from anyone, that's the day this continent will roar again. Because Africa's strength was never lost, it's just been waiting for us to believe in it again. Zambia, the sleeping giant. Now let's talk about the giant in the room, Zambia. The truth. The day Zambia wakes up, Africa wakes up. Period. Because this nation, tucked in the heart of the continent, carries more potential than it even realizes. Wherever you go in the world, New York, London, Dubai, you'll find Zambians quietly shaping the future. They're doctors in world-class hospitals, engineers on billion-dollar projects, creators and innovators who make their mark without shouting about it. When Zambia stands tall, others take notice. History shows it. When Zambia steps up in times of crisis, neighbors find courage to rise too. But here's the heartbreak. Zambia doesn't yet know her own strength. Too often we talk about potential like it's an inheritance, not a responsibility. We celebrate numbers, GDP reports, and foreign praise like trophies. But let's be real. Potential is not progress. It's just the promise of it. Look at nations smaller in size but stronger in results. Singapore, for instance, with fewer people than Lusaka alone, yet producing more wealth and innovation. So why are we still content to be called promising when we could be powerful? Zambia should be the lion that guards the continent, not the giant asleep under its own shadow. The country has copper, fertile land, sunlight, water, and a young, hungry population bursting with ideas. The question is no longer what we have, it's what we're doing with it. And that's where leadership comes in, not just from politicians, but from everyone. Leadership isn't about titles, it's about ownership. If you can run your home, your classroom, or your business with honesty and excellence, then you're already leading change. Because real leadership doesn't wait for permission. It starts wherever you are, with whatever you have, right now. And when Zambians everywhere embrace that truth, this sleeping giant won't just wake up, it'll roar. Breaking the curse of low self-esteem, there's something haunting us, a ghost that walks beside us every day. It whispers in our schools, our media, our minds. It's the ghost of low self-esteem. For too long, we've looked in the mirror and seen everything except greatness. We keep trying to sound, look, and act like someone else, as if being African is not enough. Our universities want to be Harvard instead of becoming world-class in their own way. Our musicians imitate foreign accents instead of proudly singing in their mother tongues. Our designers chase Paris and Milan, forgetting that the rhythm, color, and creativity of Africa have always inspired the world. But let's ask the real question, why copy when we can create? Why should made in Africa mean cheap or inferior? The day we decide that our work, our products, and our people define quality, that's the day our economic story flips. Because the truth is, our food, our music, our art, our fashion, they already tell the story of who we are. The tragedy is, too often, they're made somewhere else. We export our cocoa and buy back chocolate. We send crude oil out and import petrol. We export jobs, dignity, and innovation, then celebrate the very people we trained abroad. It's time to wear confidence like a second skin, to rebuild industries, invest in our schools, and honor the teachers, engineers, and doctors who keep our nations alive. How can our best minds live on crumbs while corruption feasts on gold? How do we still import basic medicines, machines, even matches, when we have the talent to make them? Electricity is not rocket science. So why are we still in the dark? Who bewitched us into believing that excellence is foreign? Africa doesn't need saving, it needs awakening. The fire is already here. We just have to light it. The power of resolve. More than 60 years after independence, the time for tears and excuses is long gone. The songs of lamentation have been sung, the speeches have been made. Now is the hour of resolve, the time to act, to build, to become. Africa can no longer afford to drift from one decade to the next waiting for miracles. Change won't come from outside, it begins right here, with us. Picture this for a moment, a continent where trade flows freely across borders, where African airlines connect cities faster than any European carrier, where students from all over the world fly to Lagos, Nairobi, or Accra, not London or New York, for world-class education. Imagine young innovators choosing to build companies in Lusaka instead of Silicon Valley because opportunity lives here. That's not a fantasy, it's strategy. It's the future waiting for courage. We have everything we need, the mines, the minerals, the youth, the fertile soil, the fire. What we lack is conviction. We talk about someday, but someday isn't a day on the calendar. It's a decision made in the heart. It's the moment a nation says, enough talk, it's time to work. Let Nigeria, and every African nation, lead boldly in agriculture, technology, manufacturing, and education. Why import rice from Pakistan or palm oil from Malaysia when our soil could feed half the world? Why depend on others for what our own hands can produce? Let's build universities that are so strong, so excellent, that students from Europe and America dream of studying here. Let's power our homes with our own resources, feed our people with our own crops, and inspire our neighbors through example. And above all, let's stop treating one another like foreigners. Why should Africans need visas to visit Africa? This continent is one home, and no mother should ever ask her children for a landing pass. The eagle has to fly. History doesn't care about the excuses we leave behind. It remembers only the footprints of those who dared to act. The dreamers, the freedom fighters, the visionaries, they each carried the torch for their generation. They faced chains, bullets, and humiliation, yet still they built bridges of hope. Now, that torch has passed to us. What will we do with it? We are not cursed. We are simply too comfortable. We are not weak. We are just waiting for someone else to move first. But courage doesn't fall from the sky. It rises from within. It's born the moment you decide that fear will no longer dictate your steps. Every great nation in history was once where we are now, unsure, divided, underestimated. The only difference is that they chose to fly. We are lions that have been chasing rats for far too long. It's time to crave antelopes again. We are eagles that have been fed chicken feed. It's time to remember how it feels to soar. Enough with talking about potential. Enough with waiting for perfect conditions. The world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards results. Let's stop shouting about greatness and start living it. So wherever you are, whether you're a student in Lusaka, an entrepreneur in Nairobi, or a policymaker in Abuja, this is your wake-up call. You are not powerless. You are the leader you've been waiting for. The power to change Africa isn't in some distant future. It's already in your hands, your mind, your daily choices. Africa doesn't need another savior. It needs believers, builders, movers, dreamers who act. So go out there and move, lead, build, rise. Because when Africa stands tall, the world will have no choice but to look up. And if this message stirred something in you, don't just scroll past. Share it, speak it, live it. Globe showing Europe Africa, let's rise together. The eagle has to fly.